Hey guys, so here I am trying to install a ARB Twin Compressor on the 4th gen Tacoma. Now, there's a few locations that I thought about. Obviously, they don't have any brackets out now, so I'm trying to think of potential spots. This is the first one. Everybody mounts on the hood. So this section here, this gap, is wide enough to fit a twin, and the width, you would have to pretty much stand up the cylinders, one here and one here. But it's just, you have like maybe half an inch on each side, and then you're really tying into this here. You're gonna be vibrating into that. It'll fit. You just have to, really be patient and create a bracket. As you can see, I scuffed right in there. That's where it's going to be mating, but there is multiple mounting sections here, which is this bolt. You got this one here, this one, and the one right in there. So there's multiple. You could create an L bracket, which I was going to do, that bends 90 coming this way and then straight up. Same thing on this side, both there, come this way and straight up. But it's just as much as I would have wanted mounted there, because of the simplicity to run the cables into the battery on that side. It would have been a lot more easier. That was option one. Option two is in the rear cubby under the seats. So I've thought about mounting it here, right in this section. There's obviously, this is plastic, but I was thinking of mounting it with a L bracket, and L bracket would be mounted in here. And obviously this is plastic, but once you go on this side, you'll see this is the plastic of the cubby, and this is what I was going to use. I was going to create a hole here and here, therefore running a couple bolts, and that'll grab the L bracket from the inside, and then the L bracket will be tied into that. It'll swing down, bent 90 degrees, come this way, and underneath that L bracket I would have rubber bushings or something to give it some cushion, or from creating avoid creating any noise or vibration. And eventually I was gonna run the air hose to come out this way, tap into inside here. This comes off. It's just a removal. It comes off. Tap in to here, come out, and you could run the wire harness down here straight into the indoor here, into the inside for the switch, and come out from here straight under the chassis and go straight to the front for the battery. Since the battery is on the passenger side, you would have to cross it over or go up the driver's side and then cross it over in the hood. But the problem with this is, this would have been great. Once this is flush here, I was gonna install the air chuck right in here. Let me show you what I mean here. So this is the chuck for ARB. So it would have been flush right in there, and I checked, the door doesn't get in the way or anything. It's literally, you got like 6 inches or something like that, and once this closes, you're fine. That part with this is, or this idea is, the airflow. Obviously, if you have your seat down and no ventilation in there, obviously it's not airtight. So I even thought about, there's several clips right here, back here, and you remove them, and you got those cutouts, which I was gonna remove this flap just so the compressor breathes and pulls air. But the case is, the unfortunate part is the heat. The heat is what's causing me from doing this. If you flip this seat down and you have all this closed, and if you have kids or anything on top, that's not gonna work. The amount of heat that might put out. Yeah, you're running your AC and all that stuff, so the compressor might not be as hot as mounting it in the hood, but while you're running it with the seat being down, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that's something I want to try. Or, I mean, if you mount it there and you always have your seat up, then, or if you're gonna, you know, flip it up when you're gonna use the compressor, then this is a good idea. It'll keep it safe and guarded. Now, if you don't want to flip the full, the 70 or 60% split bench, then maybe do it under that one. But then again, there's a little cubby there, so that prevents you from mounting it. It might fit right there, but yeah, I gave up with that idea of mounting it inside. So third option that I thought about, and it might be okay, it might not, I don't know. I think it's doable. So that section there above the subframe right here, all those holes, I mean, you don't need to trim anything, cut nothing on the truck itself, and you could rest the ARB twin compressor on top of that subframe. Now obviously you would have to run an extension to connect to the air chuck, but they sell them, and then I ended up getting one. So, and mind you, this is on top of the subframe, so the spare tire is below. I mean, you won't hit it or, you know, or anything like that, but it's just a matter if you're comfortable with putting it there. You know what? And I'm just noticing I have a better access. I remove the original exhaust that was here, and obviously now I have that exhaust, and it's not the NYE top or the OEM from Toyota. I just literally had my muffler guy remove the original one, and that bent that you see on there, it used to swing up. All he did was remove it, cut it at that angle, remove the hanger that's originally there, and re-welded it the opposite way. So he just cut the pipe, flipped it upside down, and that is it. And it's literally flushed. So it's just like OE. I figured it's the same quality. I mean, why not? You know, if it's gonna go underneath and it does the job, I didn't want to get anything crazy or fancy or. But so now I have access to this subframe right here, and as you can see, between here and under the where the composite bed meets, there's literally like 1/4 of an inch, right, that much gap once you sit the compressor on top of here, in between here. As far as harnesses go, you're clean and clear. I undid this one just so it could be more free, but it doesn't get in the way. You don't have to. And as far as mounting it, see how the subframe has plenty of holes already? All you got to do is mount the compressor on top, and then the compressor is going to be facing up and the holes are down. So you just got to get your bolts, line them up, put them in there, and then tie them to each one. Obviously you got to get a washer, a big washer, in order for it not to, you know, go through, because the bolt for the ARB are fairly small, the head. But what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna have a 2-inch like a strap I think they're called strips. It's a metal strip, a 2-inch by like 12. They use them to like joint for joints in construction and things like that. Yeah, I'll show you guys what I mean. All right, so this is the metal strap I was talking about. I got it at Home Depot. It's probably like $4 or $5. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretty much use this as a washer. So I'm gonna, and this is the compressor. I ended up getting, I think it's a kit. It comes with obviously the compressor, the wire loom with the switch, the wiring for the switch, and that you get when you purchase a compressor. I think you get all this. What I ended up buying in addition was this here, which is the hose extension, the coupler relocator, which just basically lets you hook up this hose. Hose goes to the compressor, and compressor goes to the edge of this, and then you're able to relocate that the chuck to wherever you want. And then these are just elbows that come with it. The elbow goes obviously here, and then it lets you go 90 degree, and then you hook up one end of the hose, and then the other end of the hose goes to the chuck. Or if you need another 90, I mean, there's plenty. Here are the part numbers. That's the cap. That's just the dust cap. That's that. And pretty much it. The rest comes with the compressor. All right, guys. So I pretty much created my own washer out of this this strip. And what I meant by that is, instead of lighting each screw into here and putting a fat washer so it could hold and match the subframe, this is gonna go on top of the subframe. This is gonna be facing downward, and when all these holes are exposed through those holes on the subframe, those circles there, that's what I'm trying to match up to this. So this is gonna go on top of the subframe. This is gonna go through the bottom. Pretty much this will be on top, this will be under. So the subframe would be sandwiched in between these two like this. And then I just pretty much marked them. That one, this one, and then these two here. So whatever options, I think I'm only going to be able to mount 3 according to the subframe, but I just drilled off 4 just in case whichever one's lined up. Then once that is in place, then I'll be able to just, you know, put screws on each one. And obviously that's going to be the washer, the lock nut, and then the lock washer, sorry, and then the screw. So, and then that'll be just tied up. And there's plenty of, I think that's where it starts grabbing there. So that's how much slack there is between that. So the subframe is literally, it's a little thicker than that washer, so we should be fine. I mean, I might just do this too. I might just go without the washer and just do the lock washer, and then this. I mean, the bolt is I did them the exact same size anyway. There's no place, so the head won't go right through it. So I removed the spare just so you guys could see a better angle of where it's gonna go, and so I could record a little bit easier. But as you can see, all I did was lower the spare and pushed it to the side. That's all it is. I didn't even unhook it or anything. All right, let's see. Let's try to mark this up. All right, so like I said, I removed the spare tire just to that way you guys are able to see for filming purposes. So you don't need to. I mean, I mocked it up from the front, but what I did was, just so I don't struggle, not sure if you can see that, but I ended up installing the elbow prior to. That way, once it's up there, and you could also install the hose if it's easier. That way, it just comes out and it swings out. Obviously, the harness is just 2 plugs and that is it. But that way, it's a little easier for me. So let's try and get this up there. Let's see. right, that should be it. Now we're gonna grab these. Let me see if you guys can see here. So this is what I meant by those holes lining up through it. You could move it according to, obviously there's only 2 exposed on this side and 1 on that side. You could, you see on the, there's actually 1 there and 1 here, same thing right next to this one. But I mean, you could drill on the subframe and put the 4th one here. That way it's 1, 2, you know, and then 3, 4. I think 3 is fine, especially since I'm gonna be installing this one here. And that's, like I said, that's gonna act like a washer, or it's gonna sandwich everything in there. So let's try and do that. It's hard to do with one hand. See, it started grabbing, and you have plenty of slack to put a washer in there. Just couldn't do it since I was doing it one hand. But just so you guys know, there you go. And then you have another one here and another one there, so it's 3 total. This one does have a washer, so that'll be that one. I think the 3rd one will be here. That'll be it. I mean, once you tie it and you pretty much clamp it in there, I mean, this shouldn't have any play. I mean, there's still, none of them are clamped in there. And the wire would be towards the back. I left the elbow up there, so let me see if you can see it. Nope. But the elbow is, oh, it's kind of in the middle there. The elbow for the airline is installed, and it's facing towards the back of the truck. That way I just connect the hose, and you're able to do that easily. It's like right here. You could go through the top of, there it is. You're able to go through the top and then feed the line down. And like I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow this, and this is where the trailer connection is at. There's the plate, so it's right here, and there's a little plastic open slot here where this is metal, but this is plastic. That's where I'm just gonna drill a circle, and then from the outside push the air chuck inward, and then I'll connect the airline here. So it'll be from here, and it'll follow this loom here, and then it'll go on top of that. All right, guys, so this is the harness. This is, well, I peeled it back already just to kind of get some exposed wire, and I didn't want to trim anything here closer to the fuse. So like I mentioned earlier, ARB, on the instructions, it says if you are going to extend the harness, you cannot add wire here, which is obviously, it's simple just to continue here and straight to the battery, but this needs to be as close to the battery as possible. So obviously these get joined together, and you add a clamp here, and then it goes tight into the battery positive side, and these two merge together, same thing to the negative. So what they recommend is to tap anywhere in between the fuse and the actual plug of the compressor. So what I'm gonna do is I peel this back and I'm gonna cut right in here, and then I'm gonna add about 15 to 20 feet of just harness. That might be a little bit overkill, but I just rather have extra to run and tuck in everywhere throughout the subframe. And it has to go from the bed, underneath the bed from the subframe, all the way through the driver's side frame, up the driver's side firewall. And then once it's on the firewall, then I gotta push it across to the right side on the passenger, since the battery's on that side. So I did order, this is all copper. I think it's 10 gauge copper stranded, and this is 8 gauge copper stranded. So 10 and 8, and you could pretty much see that it's thicker. So and this is, I ordered 20 for this one, stranded copper. So it's gonna be extended 20 feet, and then this one is for, I believe, the switch, the isolation switch. This one only needs to be extended just a small amount, but I'm gonna do 10 feet. And that one only has 2 wires. So I'm gonna extend it 10 feet. And that one I'm gonna splice like towards back here. That way I just add in. That one doesn't matter where you do it. The one with the fuse does. Do not wanna add any extended wires on this side. This is the shortest it is, as close to the battery, the better. So always after the fuse. Yeah, that's the way it's gonna work. And as far as the switch, let me show you guys. This is where I'm gonna end up mounting it, on this blank spot here. I'm gonna pop that out, and I'm gonna insert this this ARB switch. And I'm not sure if you go, let me pop this back up. That one you just literally pry up here and pull out, and it comes out. So if you notice, the back side of it, it is the right side. It is perfect for that. Now, this is the back side of it, obviously, the slimmer part of the rectangle. Now, as soon as you get to this part where the little clamps are, that gets a little bit wider. But as far as this, it's literally the same size. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna possibly trim just a little bit on this side. That way there's room for that protruding end of the rectangle. And it can be that big just because it's like a stair style. So the more you push in, the more it locks. So yeah, and then that's gonna be mounted there. Now it looks big because it's not flush, but once it's flush, it should be okay, right? All right, guys, so the wiring is pretty much done. Reason I laid it out that way is so I could kind of gauge myself on how long I need the harness extended. So I did splice right there. You can kind of see the bundle. It looks kind of fugly, but I mean, that's what it took. I couldn't get it to be wrapped any more snug. This is gonna go under the chassis anyway. Both plugs there go to the compressor. The other end go towards the cab and the battery. So this one here, this one I ended up doing 20 feet. As you can see, it goes to the front of the truck, and then I have to go up the wheel well and then across the engine bay into the passenger side where the battery sits. So I don't want to risk it. This is a little bit more than I need, but at the end I'll trim and I'll show you guys in a bit. But like I mentioned in the past, the red are 10 gauge and you're gonna need 20 feet of each, so total 40 feet. And then the black is 8 gauge and you just need 20 feet. And then obviously this is 20 gauge, and that's all copper stranded. Let's see. Oh, and I ended up extending this one as well. I might have gotten away with the original length, but I didn't want to risk it, you know, being too short, since I wanted to be tucked in right under the well, and then inside maybe driver's seat, kick panel. I don't know how much I'm gonna need in order for me to hide it. So this is where I spliced. That one's a little bit more smaller than the other one. But again, this is 20 gauge and there's a purple and black. If you peel this back, cut in there, I mean, it should be fairly simple on this one. It's I did 10 feet and I added it. I cut here from here and up until the other bundle, which just shows right there. So this one goes from the compressor. It gets wired. That stays blank. It's for optional switches, air lockers, and all that. It goes from here. And here is where this one stays. This doesn't get used. It's for your switches, for switch 1, switch 2. Like I said, air lockers, front and back. What I'm using is, the way they leave this here is just so you can run it up and it's nice and tight. And then once you're done and finished wiring wherever you're gonna fish this through, then put on the clip and that's it. But that goes into here. And then these is called isolation switch. That goes into your plug. Blue goes to illumination. So wherever you're gonna tap in to provide light for this switch. And then this one here is for power. That gives power to the switch. So you can see right here. So power, illumination, then that gets plugged into that. Well, that is it. This is unused. As far as the other harness goes, that one goes from there. I still gotta wire tight this and wrap it in loom, but this is how it looks over here. So obviously this is a little bit easier to match. Both reds go to both reds, black to black, and then this to this. Now, I left it this way because once I run all that and I come through the top of, by the brake reservoir, and then I go across the engine bay, I'm gonna need to plug into the positive and then negative or ground, wherever. But that gives me the option to fish this through all those tight spots. And then whatever's left towards the battery, then I'll just trim as needed, or leave it as it is, whatever. And then once I do, then I'll tie this up. And then the end game is gonna be where these two get connected together. And then that creates, you know, one loop here. And then these two black, it's the same thing. Both of them connect together, and then it's that. Now these, I ended up getting 8 gauge 5/16. The reason I did that is that fits perfectly over these, and that's on both. So, and yeah. That's pretty much it. 20 feet of the harness and then 10 feet of the one that goes inside the cab. Let me finish wiring this up and then I'll show you guys the aftermath. All right guys, so this is the final installation of the compressor. That's pretty much it. This is facing the front. You're able to change out the filters as needed. Wires are here. They still need to be tightened up, but I follow the original harness all the way to the front, so it's tucked in where the OEM plugs are, and so it should be safe. But that's it right there. Now that's the bracket. I ended up painting it black. Matches the chassis a little bit better. I used 3 bolts and this thing does not move at all. So like I said, all the plugs are still here. They need to be tucked in and all that. The air hose, as you can see, it's up here and it goes behind this box and it comes out there. Now let me show you where the hose, that's it right there. That square was already cut out So there's no drilling through metal. It's just the thickness of the plastic from where the license plate sits. So that's the plate, and this is the hole right below the trailer connection. So what I did was I drilled right at the center of the square using a small drill bit. Once I did the center punch, then I went through the front of the bumper, and then I saw where the hose came out, where I did the drill bit, and then I just started using bigger and bigger drill bits until I got right before the circumference of the air chuck. That way I just literally pushed the air chuck through from the outside of the bumper, and it's a snug fit. Then after that, you just put this nut on the back of it, and then it holds it in place. So let me show you from the outside. All right, so this is how the air chuck came out. It's snug, has a protector, but that's it. That's how it looks from the back. And it's nice and tight. And as if it gets loose, you could always go back to this and tighten up that nut. But that's pretty much it. That's how it looks from out here. And then there's a plug right by the driver. There it is. As you can see, that's where I brought out the harness for the switch. And this is it right here. Everything's loose. I mean, I just kind of wanted to run it through and wanted to show you guys what I did, just in case you guys are doing the same thing. I'll show you that in a minute. So this is the way it came out. I ran the switch, isolation switch, up here. I removed this cutout. I ended up using a Dremel to make this a little bigger on both sides. That way I'm just able to push this through right in there. And it's hard to do with one hand, but okay, there it is. So yeah, well, you guys get the point. It's that's how it's gonna look. It's flushed in there. That's through the back. So that's kind of a nice, decent look. I mean, I didn't want to, you know, do any cutouts or anywhere else. That was already there. It was a plug, a blank spot that I just removed. The unfortunate part is the old gens had a diffuse box right here by the kick panel. This one doesn't. The fuse box is located on the passenger side kick panel. So easiest thing to do was just these two wires that are originally for power and illumination. I just spliced them, cut them, and then actually you don't even need to do that because they come right there. That's the end of it. All I did was add an extension and passed it through that portion of the center console right in the front. And that thing is wide enough. You could just put a zip tie and then, you know, like a 12-inch zip tie, and then just put electrical tape. That's what I did, and then just fished it through, and it worked out. So let me show you what I mean by that. So, the battery harness I ran through underneath there, and it came up through up here, and you could see it right here. This is it right here. So it still hasn't been secured, and it's harness wrapped already with that harness tape. And this is it right here. This is it right there. So this is where it splits. So it's both of them. That's the final assembly point there. Same thing here. Like I said, both the blacks go to one, and you're able to just securely snap that in place. Well, probably needs to be cut out in order for this to snap in. But let me show you where the fuse box is. So this is the extension I added, and I use a tapping fuse for both, and I kept the original color, that way it doesn't get confused. I mean, from red is or orange is power and blue is illumination, and this is where the fuse block is in the interior of the cab. So what I ended up tapping into is, let's see if you can see that. So I ended up doing the 1, 2, 3, the third one on the right column down, backup lamp. So backup lamp is this one here, which is illumination. So illumination, which is the blue wire, went to the third one down, which is backup lamp right there. The power, which you see back there, that one is connected to the USB number 2 10A, which is 1, 2, that one there. It's 10A, even though I downsized the fuse to a 5 on the fuse tap. The original stood as a 10, but I downsized it to a 5 on the out of fuse. But that's pretty much it. Let me show you the product when it turns on here. Alright, so as soon as you turn it on, the illumination works, which is fitting off the tail lamp switch or backup lamp. And when you turn it on, that kicks on. Let's see here. That's it. You hear it, and then that is it. So it's working. And you just push the air chuck, close it back up. That's it, guys. So there it is. That's the switch. That's the cutout. So hopefully it helps you guys if you're trying to do the same. This is the drill bit I use. Actually, no, this is the Dremel I use for cutting out the blank switch to remove it. This comes out easily. As far as the fuse blocks location, so you got this one here, just so you guys know, this is by the driver engine bay, and there's 3 locations, actually 4, and then you got this one here, just so you guys know where everything's at. That's the passenger, and then you guys remember the one in the passenger kick panel. That's it there. You have one more that's hidden in back under this rear seat. You have to remove the cubby, and there's more plugs here. This one's it's a simple one. It's just it's a single one. It says auxiliary rear 20 amp. That's it. The rest of them are just blanks, I guess, for the batteries for the Pro and the Trail Hunter, because it says battery fan 1 and 2. So, but that's it. That's pretty much it. So hopefully this helps you guys. If you have any questions, just send me a message and I'll gladly respond. Thanks.